got the Falcons this week at their place, so it'll be a tough challenge. The obvious thing is there's a few new pieces to the puzzle here, and so we'll have to figure some things out as the week goes along. But we're excited about getting going and getting the season started.
You excited about going back home? I mean, this is your place you grew up in.
I'm excited about getting the season started and hopefully starting the season out right with the Saints.
Is it expected that Marcus May will play against the Falcons?
Listen, I mean, that we're getting into a bunch of hypotheticals. We'll have all the healthy bodies that we have ready to go, and then we'll make that decision as we continue throughout the week.
Yeah, what's kind of the key to stopping read option?
Understanding what my responsibility is and make sure I take care of my responsibility. For a long time in the NFL, you didn't see much of it. And so you didn't work on it very often. And I think now you're seeing a lot more athletic quarterbacks playing in college, and that's transitioning back up to our league. And so we're seeing a lot more of it. And, you have to be fundamentally sound to be able to stop it. And look, it's difficult because they make you play 11-on-11 football. And so, when it's a drop back passer and you're not worried about them running, you kind of get to play 11 defensive players on 10 offensive players. And when you get an athletic quarterback and they're running some of the quarterback run game, you have to play 11-on-11. So that's what makes it difficult.
How much more of a focus is that now for you guys, just now as opposed to maybe when you first came in the league 10 years ago, whatever? How much more time do you spend on that?
Oh, a ton more. Yeah. I mean, like I said, we very rarely saw it. Really, hell, I remember going and visiting Nick Saban in Alabama and asking about the, stopping the zone read, and he said, which one? I was like, there's only one, because that's all we saw in our league, and now you see a lot of different looks. So it's a challenge, but certainly it's something we spend a lot of time working on.
When you talk about assignments, is that guys attempting to do too much, or do you see that as a function of it?
Yeah, a little bit of it, but again, it's 11-on-11 football, and so there's a lot of things that we do where we're trying to free up people to make them free in the passing game, and makes it more challenging, when the quarterback's a runner. So, yeah, that's a challenge.
And just having been around Demario, what makes him such a good leader? Everybody talks about his leadership, but what makes him so good?
Number one is he's real. He's himself. I think to be a leader, I think you gotta be comfortable in your own skin, and I think he is that. And so I think that's probably the number one thing. He loves what he does for a living. He works extremely hard at it. So I'd say that's what it is.
Was he like that when he first got here, or did it evolve over time?
I'd say it's kind of evolved over time, but yet I think as he's gotten more comfortable being in this environment, I think he's gotten to be an even better leader. But I think leadership is I think you're born with it a little bit. I think some of it can be developed, but yet I think that's a quality and a trait that I think you're born with.
How have you seen him lift up the guys around him, including a young guy in Pete Werner, obviously his rookie year last year, and kind of helping him get along what he's going through with injury as well?
Well, look, I mean, he's just always got something motivational to say, and I think, look, the biggest thing that he does is he comes to work every day and he works. He's if he's not the hardest working person in the building, he's one of the hardest working people in the building, and it's hard to get people to follow you if you're not willing to do all the things that you're asking them to do. And so I think that's another part of leadership. I think he's got that down pretty good.
And it's Atlanta's got the same coach, a lot of the same personnel, but when they have the totally different quarterbacks stylistically, how much, without having any of this year's game tape to go on, do you have to study other what Mariota did in other places or did in Tennessee?
Yeah, we've looked at a little bit of what they did with him in Oakland or Vegas. We obviously studied what they were doing with him back in 2019. I think he started the first 6 games for Tennessee back then. So, look, we're gonna uncover every stone that we can to try to figure out the things that they may do, and there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to have to adjust to throughout the course of the game. That's just the nature of the season opener, where there's a lot of uncertainty as to exactly what they're going to do or how they're going to try to attack you, and so we'll have to be ready to adjust.
You didn't have Jameis, Alvin, Mike all together in a preseason game, but you feel pretty good about where that group is going into the opener?
Yeah, I do. Certainly in a perfect world scenario, everybody'd be out there all the time together. Unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world, and so we have to be able to adjust to that. But I like where each one of those guys is individually, and certainly there's still some things that we got to do to gel collectively as a group. But look, I like that start, with all the talent, and then we'll work to make sure it gels together.
Did you get a positive report on Trevor Penning surgery or outlook? That there was a report that there'd be some hope to play this season possibly.
Well, I think that's the case. Yeah, I think there's some hope that he'll be back at some point, and certainly he's going to work extremely hard to try to get back out here. So hopefully it's sooner rather than later. But we'll just have to see.
Coach, this is your first game week. What's your approach mentality heading into week 1?
Well, it's not my first game week, but yeah, first, as a head coach here, I'm excited. I think we have a good football team, and I'm excited about getting our guys out there and going and playing. So it'll be a fun week.
In your experience, what's the value you make in terms of how much time you spend watching the quarterback you're about to face that I've never seen with that team, with other teams and other coordinators? I mean, how much can you rely on just your evaluation of the individual versus how the new team and coordinator and new offense might like to use him?
Yeah, well, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of film study that goes into it. I think, number one, you're studying the play caller for the other team and see how, he likes to, call plays. And then you're trying to study what the individual's players do well and how they might utilize those skill sets. This is a unique situation because, Mariota was with Arthur Smith in Tennessee when Arthur was the offensive coordinator. So I think there's a little bit for us to go off of, but yet there's been a lot of water under the bridge since then. So again, like I said, we'll have a plan going in, and then we'll have to be ready to adjust. Okay, guys, thanks.